All right, this is part 2 of the resurrections. So I want to go back to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. All right. All right, so verse 1. I just want to recap this quick. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, right? Because that's we're talking about the resurrection, the gathering together, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. Okay. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Okay, so we talked about the falling away a little bit. We talked about the man of sin. And verse 4, who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sits in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Okay, so now we talked about how he's going to be he's going to consider himself God. That's the deception. He's claiming he's claiming this. All right, so in verse 3, there shall come a falling away first, right? Because we're talking about the order. So now the falling away, I showed you Acts 21:21. So the falling away, those words there in the Bible, it's called the apostasy, and it's only found 2 places in the Bible, right here in 2 Thessalonians, and the other was in Acts 21:21. So here it's saying a falling away. In Acts 21:21 it says forsaken Moses, the law of Moses. And remember from other videos we talked about, he wrote all the words, he spoke the words, he wrote the words, he read the words. There's a blood covenant for all the words. It's the law of Moses. So it's interesting that the only other time apostasy is talked about is forsaking the law of Moses. And so here it's talking about there must come a falling away, and a falling away from the truth. So that's what it's going to be. Just basically disregard the truth of the words of God, and forsaking Moses. So I just wanted you to see that the falling away is really just falling away from the truth, from the Bible, from just forsaking God in the truth. Okay, so that's the falling away, and that's going to come in all sorts of different ways. They're going to be manipulating people to follow after something that's not true, that has nothing to do with the Bible. Okay, so, and the Antichrist, the son of perdition, he's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be a worldwide deception. He's gonna get all sorts of people to follow this way that's gonna be falling away from this. Is gonna fall into what he wants. He wants the people to follow him. So that's the falling away. So when you say it's going to be worldwide, it's going to be obvious. Like, wait, this is the falling away. And right now, we could just be seeing the initial stages of it, falling away from the truth of the Bible, and going in all these different directions. Okay, so we talked about the falling away. The man of sin's got to be revealed. And okay, so all these things have to happen, and that's the order, before the coming of the Lord, which is the first resurrection. Because we talked about Christ is the first fruits of the resurrection, and we're joint heirs with him. So he's the first fruits, he's the first one to be resurrected. And then at his coming is going to be the first resurrection of the saints. Okay, so I want to go to Matthew 24 and 21. Matthew 24, verse 21. All right, so Matthew 24, 21. Okay, now this is Jesus speaking again. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days shall be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Okay, so he's talking about there's going to be great tribulation. So if we go back to Revelation 13, 14. Okay. Revelation 13, 14. Because Jesus is saying it's going to be great tribulation. So he's describing how bad it's going to be. Right? So Revelation 13, 14. Now because I read this before in part 1. If you go to 13:13, and he does great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth inside of men. All right, so he's gonna be believable. And then 14, he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. Okay. And then, all right, so he should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. Because remember I mentioned that this Antichrist person, he's going to have a deadly wound, and then he's going to come back to life. And then they're going to set up an image, and then he's going to get everybody to worship this image in the temple. Okay, in 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So I think I left off in part 1 talking about, you heard about the mark of the beast. Okay, so all this, he's talking about, the great tribulation. This sounds like some great tribulation that has never seen before. Right? Okay. So I'm just trying to show you the order. Okay. So now if we go to Daniel chapter 12. Because remember the scripture I read before, Jesus referred back to Daniel. So that must be an important book if Jesus is referring back to Daniel. Okay, so we'll go to Daniel 12. And I just want to show you what he says about the great tribulation and the troubles it has never seen. Okay. Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that the same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. In verse 2, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Okay, so I just wanted to show you where he's talking about there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation to that same time. So there is a time of trouble that's never seen before. Okay. And then Jesus talked about that in Matthew 24, the great tribulation. Okay. All right, so I just wanted to touch on this great tribulation and times of trouble never seen before. Because this is the order, right? Because before the resurrection, the first resurrection of the saints, right? We talk. There's the falling away, the man of sin's revealed, and he sets up in the temples claiming he's God, and then there's this great tribulation is going to cause all these people to worship this image, and if they don't worship the image, then he's going to take them out. Okay, so now that brings us to the coming of the Lord, or the first resurrection, or the rapture. Okay, so now we're going to go back to Matthew 24. Matthew 24:29. I'm going back and forth, but I'm trying to keep it in order so you can see that there's an order to all these things. God is a God of order, and he has an order for everything. So Matthew 24. Okay, Matthew 24. 29. Matthew 24:29. Okay. 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Okay, you see how he's saying then and then. There's an order to things. Okay, and this is Jesus explaining this in Matthew 24. He says, immediately after the tribulation of those days. Okay, so what days? The days he's talking, the great tribulation he was talking about. Okay, right? So, because if you go, and I just read it in verse 20, Matthew 24:21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. That's the days he's talking about. That's the great tribulation. Okay. And then, so now, so Jesus is given an order now to. So now there's even an order of things or events that are going to happen at his coming, or at the first resurrection of the saints. Okay, there's more order to this. Because in 29, immediately after the tribulation, right, of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Okay, so we got the falling away. We got the man of sin is revealed. He goes in the temple, claims he's God, sets him an image, causes all this great tribulation. He's going to make war with the saints and overcome them. And that's why your name's got to be written in the book of life, and you get the Holy Spirit to seal your name in there, so it's not getting blotted out. Right? So it comes this great tribulation, and then Jesus saying, after the tribulation, the sun and moon shall not give their light. The sun and moon is going to be darkened. So that's the next event before the resurrection. because that's what he's saying. After the tribulation, the sun and moon shall be darkened. Right? And the stars shall fall from heaven, the powers of heaven to be shaken, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Okay, so you see, the sun and moon is going to be darkened first before he comes in the clouds for the resurrection. Right, in 31, he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds and from one end of heaven to the other. Okay, I'm hoping you're following with the order. Okay, all right, so now I want to go to Mark 13. And so he's going to give an account. He's going to show you the same order. Mark 13:24. Okay, Mark 13:24. And this is Mark's account. Jesus is speaking. Okay, he's writing what Jesus spoke to them. Mark 13:24. But in those days, after that tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. Right? You see, after the tribulation, then the sun and moon and stars are going to be darkened. And then verse 26, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds. The Son of Man is Jesus. That's what he called himself when he was on the earth. They shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then they shall then shall he send his angels, and shall gather his elect from the four winds to the uttermost part of the earth, to the uttermost part of heaven. You see the same chronology, the same pattern, the same order, right? 24, after the tribulation, sun and moon darken. This is an event everyone's going to see. This is not going to happen in the middle of the night. It's not night all the way around the world at the same time. Everyone's going to see this. The sun and moon is going to be darkened, and the stars of heaven fall. Right? And the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. All right, so now it's most likely gonna. We don't know exactly for sure when we say the stars of heaven shall fall, but it's definitely not talking about the actual stars gonna come crashing down on the earth. He's not talking about that. That would be just one star hits the earth. Let's forget it. But this is going to be event worldwide. You're going to know this is happening. Okay, so I just want to show you the chronology. It's the same chronology. Okay, and then go to Luke chapter 21. Luke 21:25. Okay, now this is Luke's account. Luke 21:25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, in the sea and the waves roaring, and the men's heart failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. All right, so you see he's talking in 25, the signs in the sun and the moon and the stars. The sign, you're going to know when this happens worldwide. Right, and then verse 27, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the cloud with power and great glory. In 28, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws nigh. And what's your redemption? What does that mean? Your redemption. Jesus, that's what his whole reason he came is you're going to redeem us and reconcile us back to the Father, so that he's our redemption. Okay. So now I just want to make sure you see that this, you know, in 25, you know, in you know, the sun and moon and signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and men's hearts failing for fear, for looking on those things which are coming on the earth. So great tribulation sounds to me. So it's the same order. It doesn't switch any of the order. It's the same pattern. Okay. All right. So now, all right. So we got, let's talk the order again, right? We got the falling away from the truth. Falling away. Man of sin is revealed. The son of perdition, you know, the Antichrist, the false prophet, the Satan himself. He's gonna, you know, wounded by a sword. Okay, goes in the temple. He's gonna somehow get most of the world to worship him. All right, and then, you know, that's, which is just going to be considered the great tribulation, because he's going to make war with the saints. He's, you know, and he's going to do all these horrible things. You know, he's not talking about flowers and rainbows. This is tribulation coming to the saints. Okay, so falling away, man of sin revealed, goes in the temple, great tribulation, and then sun and moon are darkened. You know, this great event in the heavens. The stars fall. Okay, then you'll see the Son of Man coming in the clouds. That's the first resurrection. Okay,